You've reached the IT department. Have you tried resetting it?
Get that stuff out of here! It's Southwest Bias!
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at husbandandwifelawteam.com. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today for free by downloading the Circle K app and celebrate Fuel Day, saving 40 cents off per gallon.
I dangerously drove to work on a low tank, and I am hoping that I don't run out before I get a Circle K.
I don't remember asking you, Shane, but thank you for participating. Wow. As a general manager and somebody who's worked in management over the years, I am used to looking at a lot of problems, looking at a lot of spreadsheets and names and different things to try to solve something. And one of the toughest things that I've had to deal with is understanding that success isn't always linear, that sometimes a step back is necessary for a step forward. In sports, that's tough to accept, especially as a fan base in a world where tanking runs rampant, where coaches get fired in the blink of an eye, where everybody wants instant gratification. The idea of taking a step back before taking steps forward is a tough one to sell a fan base. Enter the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are at a crossroad when it comes to the quarterback situation. Kyler Murray's had 7 years, 2 coaching staffs, plenty of opportunity to solidify himself as the franchise quarterback in the Valley. A former number 1 pick, a Heisman Trophy winner, a guy that had some success early on, but then has taken steps back and back and back. Injuries plays part in it. But now the Cardinals have to decide. Do they stick with Kyler Murray under new head coach Mike LaFleur? Doesn't sound likely. Do they find a trade partner, or are they going to have to cut him? One thing I did, though, was, and thanks to our friends at PHNX Cardinals and the great Noah who produced this graphic, I looked at all the names that are available when it comes to quarterbacks, whether it's free agency, trade, or draft. And when you look at this list, it's Malik Willis, Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Justin Fields, Geno Smith, Derek Carr, Davis Mills, Jarrett Stidham, Will Levis, J.J. McCarthy, Gardner Minshew, Ty Simpson, Garrett Musburger. Who the hell cares?
Whoa.
I don't.
Garrett Nussmeier.
Who the? It could be Brent Musburger at this point, the 80-year-old. None of these names matter when you get that far down on the draft list, right? You look at this list and you go, hey, none of these guys are actually going to change your fortunes. In fact, if you put Kyler Murray on that list, he'd be number 1 out of that group. That's the reality of it. He would be number 1 in that group in terms of an ability to help a franchise right now and in terms of raw talent. Sometimes things run their course. Kyler Murray has run his course like 80 yards backwards, 30 yards to the left, 30 yards to the right, and then forward for 10 yards. That is where we are. Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals are done. From everything we've heard, everything that's been made clear, it feels like that relationship officially soured back in November when he was out with injury. They soft-benched him. Let's just call it like it is. And to me, that feels like Monty Ossenfort is ready to move on. And I can't imagine that Kyler Murray, outside of getting the full paycheck, wants anything to do with the organization after that. He probably wants a chance to move forward and find a place where they really want him, and he can try to reestablish himself as an exciting quarterback the way like Sam Darnold did up in Seattle. So what are the Cardinals left with? Malik Willis is going to cost you money. Going to be a couple of years. Probably not your long-term answer. Kirk Cousins, if you prop him up and we weekend at Bernie's, the quarterback position is probably good for 1 or 2 years if you solidify the offensive line. Derek Carr, I mean, spent the whole year on the couch last year and supposedly has more ties to other places than he does here and in interest here. Thank God Aaron Rodgers wasn't on that list. There's not enough quiet spaces in the Cardinals facility for him to go have a retreat to make himself ready to play. So you're going to take a step back. That's the reality of 2026. If you are going to sign a free agent quarterback, you're going to draft a guy, and you're going to have Jacoby Brissett in the mix potentially, you're not going to improve at that position. Now, that doesn't say you can't improve other places. That doesn't mean that this will be a complete, terrible 14-loss season again. But to me, overall, you're making a very distinct decision by moving on from Kyler Murray that we're okay if year one is kind of a redshirt year for Mike LaFleur and this coaching staff to get its bearings with a quarterback that very well might not be under center in 2027. This very well may be the Arizona Cardinals going, you know what? We noticed that draft class next year, hell of a lot more attractive. So we'll stopgap it. We'll take a flyer on a kid in this year's draft to see if we catch lightning in a bottle. And then we're going to push our chips to the middle of the table and try to find the quarterback of the future in a draft that has more than 2.5 quarterbacks. And yes, Chambliss is a half, not just because of his size, but because he doesn't really want to be in the NFL from everything we've heard. Is it the right move? Probably, because you don't have a lot of other options. People want to be like, well, Mac Jones, the San Francisco 49ers are not going to trade you Mac Jones. Not going to happen. It just won't. You're not going to trade up with the Raiders and get Mendoza. Sure, that sounds like it would be great, but it's not going to happen. Clint Kubiak didn't go to the Raiders to then ask to be like, yeah, let's trade that pick. I don't want a quarterback. They're in the same boat you are. So that's kind of your fate at the quarterback position. And sure, maybe Kirk Cousins finds the fountain of youth and does something spectacular. I doubt it, but maybe. We've seen it here. Carson Palmer, Kurt Warner, they recaptured magic. Maybe Derek Carr surprises. He comes here, has the same kind of rejuvenation under Mike LaFleur's system. But the reality is that position is going to be bad yet again. And the argument I understand that people will make is then why not keep Kyler Murray? You don't keep Kyler Murray because you've seen enough of Kyler Murray. Well, but you haven't seen him in Mike LaFleur's system. Okay. I don't see how you overcome all the baggage. How you wind up unlocking him in a way that's going to make you believe. And guess what? He's not young anymore. Multiple injuries, lots of mileage. Why do we think that all of a sudden he's going to turn into that when most of his game has been predicated on extreme athleticism? When does that go away? As you get older, as you get hurt. Sure, he could be Mr. Right now. He's not Mr. Right. So why not try somebody else that maybe has a slim possibility of being Mr. Right and might just be a little bit better as Mr. Right now or a little bit worse? The Arizona Cardinals have many, many question marks that they're going to have to answer, that they're going to have to fill in, including a coaching staff that does not have all the answers yet and has not been filled out. And certainly plenty of questions when it comes to Mike LaFleur, what he's going to be able to do, how it works. Because some people say you got in 1 year too early on Mike LaFleur. Well, guess what? He might have 1 year to make all the mistakes that he wants to based on who he's going to have under center for this team. But maybe That's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in. He's back, at least for a day. It's the mustache, the actual mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach.
The actual mustache?
Yeah. I mean, we had Noah, who was the...
oh, come on. That's not a mustache.
The semi-mustache.
It's not a mustache.
It's kind of.
No, it's
what do you call it? Like a tiny dirt squirrel? Like what do we call?
Sure, we can call it that. I don't want to say that again. A TDS.
I mean, I got to give him some respect.
Hey,
everybody needs
bros
a
and broettes. How's everybody doing?
We're good. How are you, Shane?
I'm good.
We miss you.
I miss you guys.
I mean, we know we'll see you once every 6 months when you have a few
I would say
minutes
once every month, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that just hurts my heart. What do you make of the Cardinals quarterback situation? I mean, I think it's one step back, and you're going to have to accept that. But what do you make of it?
Yeah. I mean, things can turn around fast. If the Super Bowl isn't evident of that enough, and I don't know what is, or evidence of that enough, then I don't know what is. Like, you had two teams that were both supposed to be retooling, rebuilding, whatever you want to call it, and both of them were the number one seeds in their respective conferences. Now, on one side of the conference, you had the Patriots, who people question their strength of schedule, and understandably so. But still, like, I don't care how the Cardinals get to the Super Bowl. If they got to it, that would be a big step in the right direction.
Of course.
No duh. But, like, you can see how fast things can turn around. So there's not really a wrong answer in terms of the quarterback situation for me, other than moving on from Kyler. Just because and it's not anything of him as a player. It's more so just the vibe around this team. Like, it's a reset. You can't try to go back into this. You just did this. Go get somebody else. If it's a 1-year guy, if it's a 2-year guy, if it's a young guy, if it's a veteran, it doesn't matter. Whoever it is, you just never know. Sam Darnold was signed to a 3-year, $100 million contract in the offseason. That got shit on all over.
Mm-hmm.
So the chat can throw in, we can look at that list again, and the chat can throw in, no, this would be a horrible pick. This would be a horrible. Nobody really knows that until you see a quarterback into their system, especially now with the epidemic of RPOs in college football and no quarterbacks basically being able to survive their first couple of years in the NFL, except for the rare few cases of Jaden Daniels and Drake Mays and other people. But even guys like Caleb just struggled a ton because they just, one, either didn't have the resources, or two, just weren't able to run an NFL offense. It's going to take a while regardless. You think back to the Bears in 2023 when they decided not to draft Bryce Young with the first overall pick and traded that to Carolina for a ransom. You're not going to be able to do that this year, but you can look forward to the draft next year like they did to the draft in 2024. It was a way stronger class. You had Bryce Young at the top of 2023, and then that was kind of it. This year, or the next year, you had Caleb, you had Drake May, and you had Jaden Daniels. You're kind of looking like the same thing. This draft class looked like it was going to be strong until some people dropped out of the class. Garrett Nussmeier turned into an injury-prone potential bust. Ty Simpson didn't. Like, there's a lot of names in next year's draft class, and it's very similar to the 2024 draft, in my opinion.
I just think it's a hard sell to Cardinals fans to be like, wait. But that's the reality of it is you're going to have to wait unless you get lucky. Yeah. I mean, maybe Malik Willis turns into some great quarterback and we go, oh, man, that was a stroke of genius. I mean, Schaff in the chat says Malik Willis should not get anything more than 2-year, $40 million deal. I mean, and that's max. But, I mean, $20 million a year, does he turn out? I mean, maybe.
I'm going to tell you this much. Malik Willis is getting more than that in this market.
Probably. I mean, because you got a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. Only one's going to fill it with, only one's going to fill it with Kyler Murray. It ain't going to be the Cardinals. So then you got competition. It's like the coaching search. There's all these spots that need quarterbacks, even temporary solutions like in Kansas City. So all of a sudden, you're just going to wind up seeing these guys get picked off, literally and figuratively, off that list. And where are you going to stand? Are you that attractive? Probably, because you have Trey McBride, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you got Michael Wilson, but you're going to have to get lucky. And if we've seen anything when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals, luck ain't exactly in their favor most times. Lady Luck looks at them and says, you know what? I'm not going home with you. It ain't 2 a.m. I'm not that desperate. So you're going to have to get extremely lucky from a group that you're not really going to get extremely lucky with in the Cardinals. I hope they do. Maybe Jimmy Garoppolo has a resurgence, or turns into Matthew Stafford somehow, and everything's fine. It's going to take luck. And to be fair, the 2 times you've had a quarterback, it did happen that way with the Cardinals. I'm not holding my breath on it, Shane.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, you just really don't know with I think the only ones you know for sure of on this list are guys like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, and guys that are not talent-wise, but more so proven with their age that it is almost too late for a turnaround. I think Geno Smith was right on that cusp, and the turnaround lasted a couple of years, and it was a turnaround. Anybody that denies that it's recency bias because of how horrible this year was. But he was 32.
I think Derek Carr might be the wild card because he did sit out the year with the recovery from the surgery. Maybe, but come on. That's a huge maybe.
Yeah. I mean, obviously everyone's going to point to the mobile quarterbacks as the most exciting. You can't really choose at this point of like what you want. It all depends on what is going to work in the system. And unfortunately, guys, it's going to be a Jimmy G. It's going to be a Kirk Cousins. It's going to be maybe a Derek Carr. We'll see. This is what this year is. It's a gap year. And that sucks as a fan. But you have things to look forward to because the entire staff is changing.
Yeah.
Aside from Monty,
we hope.
Entire staff is changing.
I mean, Nick Rollis is still in the building, supposedly.
Yeah, so. But that would be, in my opinion, the least of my concern.
Z-Man 224 says, what about Will Levis, the Mayo Man? I'm sorry. I love the bias. I love our chat. I do not trust any man that puts mayo in his coffee. That is, I don't care. I worked in the fitness industry. I know it's a fad. I know that supposedly, I don't trust anybody that's going to put mayo on anything other than a sandwich. And if it's Miracle Whip, go to hell. All right, that's Miracle Whip's trash.
Miracle Whip isn't mayo. Miracle Whip is whipped cream and mayo. It's disgusting. It tastes too sweet.
It's trash. Total and utter trash. A big hello to all the bias in the chat. Nash, the MVP. Hello. Jay Nivor, Mars, Shaft. Shaft, I owe you an email back. Thank you for your email. I will get back to you. I promise. There. Deborah in the chat and everyone else. Thank you for being here. We'll answer more of your questions along the way. After halftime, we're going to welcome in the man, the myth, the legend, the best hair at PHNX, Bo Brack. Man, I love making car noises. Have since I was a kid. But you know what? You want to hear them for real? Go out to Phoenix Raceway March 5th through 8th, and you're going to hear some of the best car noises you ever heard in your life because it's NASCAR. It's NTT IndyCar. Same weekend, same day, same track. Not the same time, safety first. But it's going to be amazing, and you are going to get the best access in all of sports, not just motorsports, in all of sports. When you get to go inside the garage, walk the track, meet the drivers, and catch pre-race concert. No sport brings you closer to all the action when you upgrade to the Desert Diamond Casino infield experience. I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of venues in sports across the country. And Phoenix Raceway is the most beautiful venue that you will see. It is amazing, and you're going to want to be out there for that race March 5th through 8th. The weekend is fantastic. So you're going to want to go to the link in our description and secure your tickets today because they go faster than the cars themselves. And Gila River Resorts and Casinos. I'd never been out to Santan Mountain. I got the privilege to go out there today, and that venue is unbelievable. If you haven't been out there, I recommend you go out there, and now is the best time because from now through April, it is the Vegas experience out there at Gila River Hotels and Casinos because they're going to bring Vegas to you. You don't have to fly or drive or deal with any of that crap. You can go to one of their 4 Valley locations and you're going to get Vegas brought straight to you with exclusive concerts, extended DJ sets, showgirls, chef-driven dining, pop-up bars, and surprise cameos. And I heard they had some big craps influencer out at Wild Horse Pass last night, and it got crazy. Guy was throwing like bands of money into the crowd. It was nuts. So don't miss that and the fabulous Corvette giveaway. I saw a bright orange one out there at Santan Mountain, and you're going to want to get your hands on it. So you bring you, they bring Vegas. Only at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for the full calendar of events. Amazing halftime performance by the one and only Blake Shelton. I said, Bo Brock's here. He said, I'll do anything for Bo. As long as Johnny's not there, I got this. So thank you to Blake Shelton for playing halftime. We welcome in Bo Brock of PHNX Cardinals. Bo, we were talking quarterback and the likelihood that K1 is gone, and the list that we had to look at in terms of who's available. Is this going to have to be a gap year just based on the quarterbacks that are on the list?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to have to be a gap year. And can you find some sort of viable bridge from 26 to 27? Well, if you're a Monty Ossenfort fan or not, can he find somebody that they can insert into the lineup and win enough games to keep him around? Because he's still got the stench of 15-36 after 3 seasons. If that doesn't improve by, I would say, 6 to 7 to 8 games, Monty Ossenfort could be looking for new work, despite what the quarterback options are in 2027 opposed to this offseason. But I mean, it really feels inevitable that the Cardinals are going to move off of Kyler Murray. The tea leaves are just there, Espo. It's just there is not, there's very few options every offseason anyway. The supply, it's outweighed by the demand. But this season is more so than any other.
Connor, one of the biased in the chat, wants to know what are the implications cap-wise for letting Kyler go, especially if you have to cut him.
Yeah, if you have to cut him, the worst of all realities, the biggest hit the Cardinals would take would be close to $55 million if they did that before June 1st. If they were to post June 1st, designate Kyler Murray release, then that nearly $55 million would be spread over the next 2 seasons. I get the sense that, like DeAndre Hopkins, this team would be willing to bite the bullet and just absorb that cap hit in 2026 and beyond with their lives going into the 2027 offseason. Because really what is the biggest move here is Kyler Murray, 5 days after the new league year begins, his guarantees for the 2027 season kick in. So it's imperative that the Cardinals, whether they release him or trade him, that move is done before 5 days into the new league year, or you start to get into another year worth of guarantees.
What's the date of the new year so I can put that on the calendar and count 5 days out?
I believe it's March 16th, but I'd have to double check that. It's mid-March.
So it's ticking is what you're saying. The clock is officially ticking.
It's as soon as it becomes available, the trade window or release comes available to Monty Ossenfort, and he figures out which direction they have to go. They have to make that decision.
You look at the list. Mike LaFleur is the head coach now. You got kind of an idea of what he likes to run offensively in his approach. Who on that list stands out to you if we're going to have to, unfortunately, pick one?
Yeah, you really have to kind of grade on a curve. And the bell of this ball, which isn't, littered with, big-time winners. And I would say Malik Willis probably is that guy. Malik Willis with, he hasn't started a whole lot of games in his career, 6 career touchdown passes, and his sample size this past season, 30 for 35, over 400 yards passing, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He's mobile. Some people have questions about his height at 6'1", but that, unlike Kyler Murray, doesn't impact his ability to run play action. He clearly can kind of see the field. You've seen him kind of develop as a passer, but is he one of those guys that's going to break through from, being kind of a backup quarterback most of his career? Can he break through to a starter in this league? That's the biggest question that people have about Malik Willis, but you're going to have to pay him starter money just to get him on your roster. That's the thing with Willis.
What the hell is going on with the defensive coordinator job? Did we go through the head coaching search and what? You know what? Let's run it back. Everybody loves a sequel.
Yeah, look, I mean, they wanted to kind of pair Mike LaFleur with a veteran DC, and that vet DC market, it dried up very quickly, and you were down to some questionable candidates anyway, with Gus Bradley being the guy that they were willing to pay more and offer more responsibility than the Titans, but he decided he's going to go follow his good buddy Robert Saleh at Tennessee, once again kind of playing second fiddle to the Titans. Not a great look. And then, you know, what's after Gus Bradley? Wink Martindale, who's he had a 2-year successful run with the Ravens, kind of a Linsanity type sample size there, where, you know, everything in between hasn't been that great. So you start to look at, okay, now we have to do like with LaFleur at the head man job with the DC job and kind of just get in earlier on some of these kind of rising star candidates. And they added another guy to the list today, Seattle Seahawks defensive back, passing game coordinator Carl Scott. They've apparently talked to him, according to Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports. That's along with Charlie Bolin from the Giants, who is the interim DC there, and Aubrey Pleasant, who the fan base is pretty excited about potentially taking more from Sean McVay's staff there in LA.
Oh, so they're interviewing a guy from Seattle so they can finish second to the Raiders again, so they can now lose to Tennessee and the Raiders in 2 coaching search cycles. That's great.
That's the problem, right? I mean, just like the coaching search, the longer it drags out, the more you open yourself up for criticism, and it's really unfortunate. But at the end of the day, and it needs to be quickly, like we're talking about the Kyler thing, like you have to get a guy in place, because come Monday, you're then a week away from the NFL Combine, and you're going to be talking to some of these top prospects like Reuben Bain or Arvell Reese from Ohio State. It's like, okay, how are you going to make sure that these guys fit the specific scheme that you're going to have in place on the defensive side under Mike LaFleur?
Nick Rawlis is still technically under contract.
He's in purgatory. I don't know what's going on with Nick Rawlis. Poor guy. Probably either just wants to know what his future is.
No, I mean, as long as the paychecks are coming, I'm sure it's not the worst thing in the world. And I like Aubrey Pleasant, but there is a 110% chance that I refer to him as Aubrey Plaza at some point on this show, because that is the name. Anytime I hear that automatically comes up. And I don't think we want the star of Parks and Recs or one of the stars to be the defensive coordinator. So
no, you be watching defenses like she kind of deadpans in that show.
They played dead pretty well last year. Anyways, any final thoughts on what's going on with the Cardinals and what we can expect over the next week or so?
No, I mean, like, you always have to like qualify it when you have the Kyler Murray conversation, because you know that there's nobody in this quarterback market, from the veteran free agents, the trade market, or even the draft, that are going to be pound for pound a better option than Kyler Murray. But it really, all signs point to both parties have decided that it's time to move on. And there are a lot of people that are holding on to hope, and they're taking reports that are out there probably solely based on Cardinals having a little bit of leverage to try to trade K1, more so than it actually being a reality that he could come back and get an 8th season as starting quarterback of this team. I think it's just, if you're holding out hope for that, you're going to probably be sorely disappointed, by mid-March when the decisions have been made.
He is Bo Brack. Follow him on social at Bo Brack. Watch him today, 4:30, PHNX Cardinals with Johnny. They've got everything you need to know about the Cardinals. And if there is a DC hiring between now and then, they'll go live as well. Bo, thanks so much.
Thanks, Espo. Talk to you soon, man.
Another edition of Southwest Bias in the books. A big thank you to the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. We'll see him in 6 to 8 weeks on the program again. You can follow him at Shane Dief. You can follow the show at PHNX_sports. And you can follow me at Espo. Remember, quarterback play ain't going to be that good this year. Ahoy, hoy.
We all silly like the mayor.